I said I'm getting married.
Hey, congratulations, Grady. I think that's terrific.
Yeah, thanks.
Smitty and Hoppy are still hungry, then that means it was marijuana. If they're not, it wasn't. Now, come on.
All right, follow the yellow brick road.
A single line forced NBC to reschedule the entire production, bringing down one of the most popular sitcoms of the 1970s. Red Fox didn't just make people laugh, he put American television on edge. Was the line actually in the script? Why didn't anyone stop it? And what caused a show that was at its peak to suddenly disappear from the airwaves?
It's not that we don't want to toast you. We just want to get to know you a little better. Right, ladies? Right.
The secrets behind the camera, the cracks behind the scenes, and the fateful moment that sent Sanford and Son slipping through the cracks are revealed in this video. Watch until the end to understand how a single line could bury a television icon. A line from an episode that seemed like a comedy gimmick turned into a turning point that sealed the fate of the entire show. In a courtroom scene, Red Fox's character Fred Sanford represents his son Lamont in a traffic case.
What are those clowns doing here? I invited them to come. Why? Because when the judge sees you got a lot of friends, it'd be good for character witnesses.
As he looked around the courtroom where many people of color were waiting for their turn, he dropped a line. "There's enough black folks in here to make a Tarzan movie." That line was not a simple satire like many contemporary sitcoms, but a strong touch on American social reality. And it was broadcast publicly at the right prime time, causing both the crew and the TV station to face unforeseen consequences. That line not only startled a part of the production crew, but also shocked the internal NBC network. Without censorship from the editorial side, the episode aired intact. And then the chain of consequences began.
Black man ain't got a chance down here.
I'm black.
Well, you the judge, that don't count.
Although no one spoke out publicly in the early days, it was that very line that caused expansion plans for the Sanford and Son brand to stall. Internally, many senior staff requested changes to the long-term script and began to review the role of Red Fox. Fred Sanford has long been portrayed as a brash character who often uses harsh words to elicit laughter. Nevertheless, this time the line was crossed. Instead of a light-hearted satire, it was a clear racist statement, even coming from a character of color. No longer a humorous scene in a father-son or neighborly conflict, this scene pushed Sanford and Son into a dangerous zone, where artistic resistance collided strongly with the strict rules of mass television. Aaron Rubin, the producer behind the show, is said to have strongly opposed the broadcast of this episode, but was unable to intervene because the broadcast schedule was locked in advance. In a closed-door meeting of the Tandem Productions Executive Board, he once said, bluntly, "We let the line through, and now the line has drawn itself across the future of this show." His words were later repeated by many in the crew as an accurate prophecy. Another detail confirmed by those directly involved in the production is that Red Fox did not send the revised script to the censors before filming. Although the original draft did not contain that line, during the live filming, Foxx improvised and kept it until completion. A member of the crew once recalled, "He said it so casually we froze. But no one dared to cut. It was Foxx. He did what he wanted." That freedom was a double-edged sword, both making Fred Sanford's brand and pushing the show to the brink. The impact of this scene was not limited to a single episode. It opened a big rift within the crew, especially between Red Fox and the producers. From then on, decisions about content direction became more tense, every line had to be scrutinized, and Fox's creative control was tightened. Some episodes were subsequently edited in post-production, an unprecedented move. Foxx no longer had the same control as before, and he didn't approve. And to understand why that scene was created, many people start looking back at the show's genesis, where it all began in such an ambitious and groundbreaking way. From nightclub to prime time. The huge success of Sanford and Son was not a fluke. It was the result of a series of bold, risky, and controversial choices early in its development. NBC initially wasn't confident that a sitcom with a black lead character would make it on national television. They experimented with a version based on the original British sitcom Steptoe and Son, but with white actors of Italian descent Paul Sorvino and Barney Hughes. This version didn't have much impact. It was only when producer Aaron Rubin spotted Red Fox performing at a Los Angeles nightclub that the direction was set. Red Fox is a veteran comedian in the nightclub industry known for his bold satire and sharp language. Although he had never acted in a sitcom, he made a strong impression with his language juggling and his defiant attitude, very close to the character Fred Sanford in the writer's imagination. After trying to create a white version failed, NBC was forced to reconsider, and it was the decision to keep the character's identity as the original Fox version that paved the way for the series of black sitcoms that emerged later. Fred Sanford is not just a role, but also a personal image that Red Fox has been attached to for a long time. The name of the character was taken from his deceased brother, Fred G. Sanford, as a way of remembering. Not only stopping at the name, he also borrowed family experiences and his mother's behavior to incorporate into the character. Fox's fake heart attack scenes on the show were based on his own mother, Mary Sanford, who used to whine to attract attention. Foxx once said, "Every time she faked an illness, the whole house was in chaos. I learned that one well-timed statement could control the whole room." As for Lamont Sanford, Fred's son in the show, the character's name was not randomly chosen. Lamont was the name of a teenager who played music with Foxx when he was young, when he formed a washtub band in a poor neighborhood. In creating the father-son relationship between Fred and Lamont, Foxx kept the generation gap intact, but deliberately added more realistic conflict elements rather than the idealized ones of other sitcoms. The decision to cast Demond Wilson as Lamont was also strategic. Wilson gained attention with a small role in All in the Family and was chosen by producer Bud Yorkin because of his sober, serious acting, a counterpoint to Fred. This created a stark contrast in every conversation between father and son on screen. Nevertheless, Wilson had no intention of sticking with it long-term from the start. He saw the project as a stepping stone to fame, not expecting Sanford and Son to become a cultural phenomenon. In the process of building the subplot, Red Fox continued to play a decisive role. When casting the character Esther, Fred's sister-in-law, Fox insisted on only LaWanda Page, his childhood friend, even though she had almost no television experience. The producers objected, worried that she would not be able to handle the pressure of continuous filming. Fox announced that he would leave the show if Page was not accepted. In the end, his request was accepted. LaWanda Page stepped into the role of Esther and became one of the most popular characters on the show. It was no longer a regular sitcom, but an artistic project with a strong personal imprint pushed to mass television. And it was from that special foundation that Sanford and Son quickly reached its peak, where laughter rang out in every home in America. The Golden Years. From the moment it debuted, Sanford and Son became the most prominent highlight in NBC's broadcast schedule. The first day of broadcasting immediately attracted a large number of viewers and maintained its position in the top 10 most popular TV shows nationwide for many consecutive seasons. In just a short period of time, this sitcom overwhelmed its formidable competitors from other networks, including ABC's The Brady Bunch, the program that had previously dominated prime time. From the second to the fourth seasons, Sanford and Son reached its peak popularity. Especially in the third year, the program was second only to All in the Family in terms of viewership nationwide. The success of the show did not stop at numbers or ratings, but also had a strong impact on NBC's broadcasting strategy. Thanks to the viral effect of Sanford and Son, the network boldly launched more sitcoms with similar elements such as Chico and The Man Good Times, and then The Jeffersons, creating a content ecosystem that is close to the working-class audience of color. The success of the content comes from the combination of smart scripts and highly antagonistic acting between the two central characters. Fred Sanford, with his old-fashioned cunning way of thinking, always tries to avoid work, while Lamont, his son, pursues a neat, stable, and somewhat idealized life. This generational conflict is clearly shown in each episode, creating deep and timely arguments. But constant quarrels, the father and son are always close to each other. A complex family model, but very close to the general audience. The supporting characters also contribute significantly to the success of the series. Grady Wilson, the old friend who always says, "Good googly goo," creates a gentle color contrasting with Fred. Bubba, one of Fred's middle-aged friends, is the one who always supports all crazy plans without thinking. Esther, Fred's sister-in-law, brings a tense energy to every appearance, often arguing with Fred with both sarcastic and humorous lines. Julio, the Puerto Rican neighbor, is the character that helps the show broaden the perspective of the immigrant community. Fred often teases Julio with ethnic comments, but in many episodes he still helps Julio sincerely. Such details make the character of Fred come alive and multidimensional, both unlikable and unlovable. Another special highlight is Donna, Fred's girlfriend. As a nurse, gentle and patient, Donna is the complete opposite of Fred's temperament. Lamont is initially wary of Donna and calls her Barracuda, but he eventually accepts the relationship when he sees that she genuinely cares for his father. Like Julio, Fred and Donna's relationship shows the emotional, even vulnerable side of an aging man who always seems to be strong-willed. In addition to the character, another symbol that is inseparable from Sanford and Son is the 1951 Ford F1 truck. This car not only appears frequently in the episodes, but also becomes part of the brand identity. Whenever Sanford is mentioned, the image of the old truck full of scrap is the first thing that comes to the viewer's mind. After the show ended, this car was purchased by a junk dealer in Indiana, and in 2014, it was restored and displayed as a TV memorabilia. Nevertheless, the fact that a supporting character could carry a series of his own at the time showed the brand power of Sanford and Son at that time. And even at its peak, there were signs that the simmering conflicts were beginning to form, leading to irreversible changes in the next phase. Awards, Impact, and Tributes. Sanford and Son was not only a commercial success, but also recognized by many prestigious television organizations during its broadcast period. Although a simple comedy on the surface, the sitcom touched on complex topics by conveying messages through characters and context rather than expository. This set it apart from many other shows of the time. Right from its first season, the show was nominated for an Emmy in the category of Outstanding Comedy Series for its intimate approach to content, focusing on working-class families of color without exaggerating the circumstances. The show also received an Outstanding New Series nomination that same year, a rare achievement for a show with a cast of people of color in an era when American television was still stereotyped. Red Fox received individual nominations in the early seasons, including Best Lead Actor in a Comedy Series in the show's third year. Although he didn't win, the recognition helped cement his place in the television industry. Also that year, the show's technical team received an Outstanding Achievement in Videotape Editing nomination for the episode Earthquake 2, marking a rare time for a 3-camera sitcom to be noted in a technical category. In 2007, Time magazine included Sanford and Son in its list of the 100 greatest TV shows of all time. This wasn't a belated honor, but rather a sign that the show's influence was still felt decades after its conclusion. Thanks to that enduring vitality, many generations of viewers have accessed the show not only through the original television broadcast, but also through redistribution platforms such as cable TV DVD and clips spread on social media. One of the lesser-known details is that Fred Sanford only once mentioned the image of his late wife, Elizabeth, in a photo that appeared on his bedside table in the episode Home Sweet Home for the Aged. It was a rare time when the show delved deeply into the character's emotional side, breaking away from the usual comedic rhythm. That moment also contributed to explaining many of Fred's outbursts throughout the series. He was lonely, lived with his son, often mentioned death as a humorous threat, but inside there was an unnamed sadness. The Ford F1 truck, Sanford's main vehicle in the show, became an iconic item associated with the brand. After the show ended, the car was sold to a scrap collector in Indiana. Nearly 4 decades later, in 2014, it was restored by 2 car dealers, Tim Franco and Jeff Kaner, and put on display as a local cultural relic. Many people have come to see the car that has left a mark on television memories. Music also plays a key role in shaping the atmosphere of the show. The opening theme, The Street Beater by Quincy Jones, has become one of the most recognizable TV songs, although it has never charted on the charts. Additionally, Red Fox personally paid for the rights to songs by his favorite band, the Ink Spots, to incorporate into episodes. NBC did not subsidize the cost because the price was too high, but Fox believed that the music was what kept his character emotionally alive. But being honored many times, the quiet cracks within the production team continued to grow, and at one point they got out of control. It was personal conflicts, increasingly difficult requests to meet, and bad timing choices that took the show in a completely different direction. Cracks behind the curtain. While the show was still maintaining great public interest, many internal problems began to arise. At the center of all the conflicts was Red Fox, the man who was closely associated with the success and breakdown of Sanford and Son. But being considered the soul of the show, Fox was unhappy with his salary compared to the level of influence he created. At that time, he was being paid about $19,000 per episode, while other actors with similar appeal on rival shows received more. Fox asked for a raise to $25,000 per episode, along with 25% of the show's profits. Tandem Productions, the production company, opposed this request and filed a lawsuit worth $10 million. The tension escalated, causing Fox to decide to leave the set in the middle of the 4th season. His absence lasted for many early episodes, forcing NBC to change the broadcast schedule and keep the information secret to avoid confusing viewers. After a series of negotiations, the production team finally agreed to Fox's financial request. He returned to the set, but the working atmosphere was no longer the same. Fox's dissatisfaction stemmed from working conditions as well as money. It was reported that he was angry when he discovered that his dressing room had no windows, while other actors had full facilities. Although this detail may seem trivial, in an environment where artists are sensitive about treatment, it was the last straw. A member of the production crew confirmed that wasn't about the window. It was about respect. The relationship between Red Fox and Demond Wilson also began to deteriorate during this period. The two had different approaches to work. Fox was flexible and often improvised, while Wilson demanded discipline and adherence to the script. Their contrasting personalities made each scene difficult to control. Director Alan Rafkin once shared that Wilson was one of the actors who made him most tired because of his lack of cooperation in preparing before each shoot. The feud was so widespread that some scenes were shot with the two actors barely speaking in real life. Wilson later revealed in his memoir that he and Nathaniel Taylor, who played Rollo, had never been close and had not even spoken since 1977. He said the atmosphere between the actors was often tense and admitted to being under the influence of drugs on several occasions. These issues complicated the production process and brought pressure from many sides, especially NBC executives. Foxx's departure in the 6th season left the show's future uncertain. Although he was invited back, ABC's offer of a new contract for him to host his own show, the Red Fox Comedy Hour, made any attempt to keep Sanford and Son futile. NBC could not retain him and could not find a viable replacement. A sequel called Sanford was produced without Wilson's participation, and it flopped quickly. Sanford and Son ended not because the audience turned away, but because unexpected things happened right in the middle of the spotlight. A line, a conflict, a decision. All combined to write an ending that no one could have predicted. If you loved this show, or are new to the dark corners behind the spotlight, don't forget to leave a comment to share your thoughts. Like, subscribe to the channel, and share the video to spread the never-aging stories of classic television. Thank you for watching until the end.